Hi, my name is Chris Deason, and this is my e-portfolio for my master's degree in building leadership at Fort Hays State University. I'm currently the director of student services at Ballard High School in Huxley, Iowa. Huxley is a 3A district between Des Moines and Ames. It's about 15 miles north of Des Moines and about 10 miles straight north of Ames, Iowa. Prior to being in this current position as director of student services, I was a history teacher for 21 years, roughly. Married, two children. My wife teaches seventh grade social studies at our current school district, and my son just graduated from Ballard High School and will be attending University of Iowa next fall, where he will major in business and sports management. My daughter will be a junior at Ballard High School this next year. Not sure exactly what her interests are going forward, but I imagine she's going to wind up in elementary education. Professional goals and personal goals. First of all, my professional goals, I would like in 1 to 3 years to become a building vice principal at the current district where I'm at. Basically, it would be a matter of the superintendent, deciding it's financially feasible for our district to hire an assistant principal. I currently do the actual job right now without the teacher evaluations and things like that, but I'd like to be moved on to an administrator contract. We'll see how that goes. 4 to 6 years from now, I'd like to become a building principal. I'd love to stay where I'm at and just continue there. Our principal will be retiring in that time frame, so there could be an opportunity there. 7 to 10 years, continue to be a building principal and possibly get involved as an advisor in the field of education. I love to mentor and tutor young people coming into education, and maybe do that sort of thing. We'll just see where the future goes. Personally, I want to continue to be healthy, improve my health. I want to plan for retirement. Been planning for retirement since I started working, but it changes a little bit when you get down the road and you get within 10 years of actually retiring or possibly retiring. And then I want to continue to be able to provide for my kids' college education. I would love for them to be able to head out into the workforce and not have a huge amount of debt. Other things, taking a look at my program of study. As you can see, I've put all of the courses from the master's degree in building administration, and I'm happy to say that I am in the home stretch and only have about a week left. My resume, I haven't worked at a lot of different jobs. I've been in 2 different school districts. If you count sometimes substitute teaching, you could say, you could add another 3 districts probably, but I would love to be able to obtain a principal or assistant principal position, be part of a building leadership team that leads a staff in promoting academic excellence through character and work ethic. Moving on to my activities, my annotated bibliography. My annotated bibliography was an interesting project. When you go through all those different sources and read through them and summarize them all, you look at a lot of information and you learn a lot. So this is my annotated bibliography with 10 different sources and summaries of each one. Take a look at my elementary activities. Elementary wise, I worked with Mr. Mannock. He's our elementary principal. Mr. Mannock previously was in my position as the director of student services at the high school. So he moved to the elementary 5 years ago, maybe, and I moved into his position. Um, first activity I did was interviewed and talked with our curriculum director, Katie Klaus, about elementary curriculum and curriculum mapping. And we talked about digital citizenship and how our district is one-to-one and what kind of things our elementary teachers and staff need to know um, to make sure those kids are not distracted by their devices. They all are at all different ages, but we need to start early with teaching them how to use those. This was a situation with an activity with one of our elementary teachers, Mr. Fielen. In my conversations with Mr. Manock, we talked about the principal of their curriculum and scheduling and the process of mapping out using Google Drive to put the data in there and then analyzing it going forward. And I also got to watch some classroom activities with Mr. Fielen. This was a end of the school year assembly with Mr. Manock. You can see him here addressing the students and just getting to be a part of that, getting to be there and experience that. And with his staff, space was really utilized well, and we were able to manage that event, and it was very successful to wrap up the school year. Several times throughout the school year, as you can see by all the dates on here, I would take a group of boys over to the elementary, and we would stand in this hallway, and we would greet the students and try to build relationships with them and their families as they dropped off their kids in front of the building, waving to the parents and the bus drivers and all those sorts of things. So really a cool activity. And we would kind of stand here and also outside when it was nice. Also, we would participate in what we called High Five Fridays, where I would take groups over to the elementary and we would high five the kids as they would come down the hallways or head off to their classes. Give me an opportunity to talk to the high school students also about the importance of being good examples for the younger kids, et cetera. So really cool talking about, how it was important that they are students of integrity because the little eyes are always on them. This is where I would meet with Mr. Manock. Mr. Manock runs a great building. He has a great staff. He has great students. Whether it was being on the playground, and assuring that everything's safe, or being in the lunchroom or whatever, he gave me an opportunity to do a lot of different things. There was a time where I spent an entire day with him. And that's what this post is referring to. And it was an exciting day. One of the things that I did afterwards was presented this to him, top 10 skills for a principal. And they're very important at all levels, but especially at the elementary level. I shared it with him and we spoke about it. So that was kind of a neat follow-up activity. And then also just being involved in the lunchroom and being there, getting to feel the energy of the students. That was pretty cool too. That was in addition to my activities, but very fun. Secondary activities. High school principal John Ronca, great to work with. I got to participate in a lot of different things. One of the things was I worked with our student council to complete a landscaping project that took place in front. We sat down with a comprehensive plan and a vision for what this project could look like, and they used me as a resource, and I kind of stayed on top of them to make sure things went the way they were supposed to, and we managed to get it done by graduation, and it was a great project. It really made the front of our building look a lot nicer. I took on this project. Our principal did not know what to do. Our exiting senior classes would paint murals on the walls, and we were quickly running out of wall space. So I photographed the murals and turned them into posters, and then had a company come in and put some graphics on the wall. And I took the posters and I had them all professionally um, framed up. And then, with the help of our custodian, we hung them on the walls. And so now this is kind of a turning into a tradition going forward. And it's basically, it's kind of a senior honor wall. And on the very opposite wall across the hall, we also have more space there. So we're gonna honor these seniors moving forward and hang these pictures. And so that was kind of a project that I got to spearhead. Um, this is our Success Center. Our Success Center is run by Mrs. Boak, and I worked closely with Mrs. Boak throughout the year because a lot of her students are at-risk students or SES students. So I worked with them very closely, and at the end of the year, some of our seniors who are trying to recover credits, sometimes they panic and they need a little extra help, and I was able to go down for this activity and spend some time working with these students and helping them with their Play-Doh recovery. And economics, English, it's a lot different environment than a regular classroom, but it's something that I enjoy doing, or enjoyed doing. Classroom observations. I was able to go in and work with our U.S. history teacher, which is always exciting for me because I taught history for 21 years. So this was fun. This particular day, they were talking about 9/11, and so got to work with a couple different classes, and always a fun time. Our academic awards night is always a really cool night to be a part of. And I got the opportunity to kind of manage the event and be there and oversee it and make sure everything ran well. It was a good opportunity to make sure that everything was safe and visitors had a safe environment in our building. And it was always really cool to watch all of our students receive their awards. Senior celebration is another night that I got to spearhead or help with, I should say. I wasn't completely in charge, but I got to help with this. We set up and organized this. Every student makes a portfolio, which you can see right here, and then they set those up, and the entire community is invited to come in. And so it's a great collaborating event with our stakeholders in the community. They get to come in, they get to see the finished product, so to speak, and really cool, fun night. And our seniors are so proud to show off their portfolios. This was a Know Your Community Groups activity. Had the opportunity to present this to our staff and our administrators at the secondary level, just kind of showing them what kind of groups we have in our building and who they can go to when they need help. This is our middle school office area where I was able to work with Mr. Maher and Mrs. Reinertson. We had to deal with a situation. I spent an entire day working with them, but the one thing that sticks out is the bus incident, which you can read about there. But it was a very interesting day, and really enjoyed the activities at the middle school. This is another Know Your Population characteristics, kind of a demographic map of our district, and working with our secondary administrators and teachers. It's always handy to know what your landscape looks like. So that was another activity that was pretty fun. Last summer, a year ago, I got to be part of the rebranding of our high school. Our athletic director, Mr. Boak, asked me to help out in this situation, and just wanted my input and ideas, and then what my vision was for the building. So it was a really cool activity. This was another activity that I did last summer with our 7th grade social studies teacher, Mrs. Deason, who just happens to be my wife. We worked to completely remodel her classroom, refresh, or something maybe is a better term. But we went with round tables instead of regular desks, and she has like a little lounge area in the back where students can sit, lamps and drapes and curtains, and the whole room was more inviting. And what was awesome was to hear the kids talk after we did that, about how much they loved coming to her room. And I also got the opportunity to, as the year went on, to watch her teach a little bit, which is always fun. Customs and traditions in our district. A little bit about some of the things we have to offer. Just putting this down in a chart and sharing it with our administrative team, and some of our staff. I think they find it interesting, and they find it something that can be helpful with our staff and families and stuff like that. So a couple years ago, I did a book study with some staff called Restorative Justice in Education. And at the end of this school year, I got the opportunity to we have a new art teacher who wasn't present when we did the book study. And she was having some trouble with some students. And I got the opportunity to introduce her to restorative justice and what it is. And we got the opportunity to work with some kids, and they served their detention time doing some restorative justice for her. And it worked amazingly well. The kids love it. She loved it. It actually helped her build relationships with these kids. And so very cool activity. Also, just wanted to include our state tournament trophy and banner. I was honored to be the basketball coach at our school for the last 20 years. And my last year, we finished by making a state tournament run. So that was quite fun. District activities. As far as district activities, our superintendent is Mr. Maxey, and he was very willing to work with me on anything that I needed to do. This is a shot of the district offices where our district secretaries, business manager, and tech director, and our superintendent are all located. This conference room, I got the opportunity to spend some time working here, helping design some school facilities. We're doing a big remodel of our middle school. Original part of it was built in 1958. They're basically, every single part of the building is being redone and or added onto. It will, in a sense, be a brand new school. And the superintendent asked me to be part of a facilities planning committee where we would look for different ways or designs for our gym and our multipurpose room. So very, very fun activity. And we met several times and communicated many different times through email as well. This is our curriculum director's office, Katie Klaus, and she was invaluable to me, always willing to answer questions, always willing to help me out. I talked to her about data and analysis and demographics and, all the different things that we do, map testing, ACT assessment, ISASS assessments, everything we offer. She was great. I had several safety meetings throughout the year. I have been in charge of all of our ALICE training and all of our tornado and fire drills, and sitting down with our chief of police, Jerry Stoll, and Nate Albaugh, one of our other ones, and police officers, and Ned Miller, who is our safety coordinator. Matter of fact, we just met last week with one of our local churches because that's our rally point and we're going to be doing a major evacuation drill this fall. So always working on those type of things. We met several times throughout the year. Those dates are available on there. So I work really closely with our counselors as well. This is a new group that we have to offer student services called LifeWorks. This group of professional counselors comes in and offers counseling in our building to students, and I coordinate with the parents and the students all the time. I recommended several different kids for LifeWorks counseling throughout the year. So then I would sit down with them, fill out the paperwork, contact the parents, make sure that it's okay, tell them why I think this is a good idea. And then I also work closely with Erin, our LifeWorks counselor, to make sure that our kids are getting the help they need. I've actually worked with Erin on doing a assembly or basically more like a tabletop workshop with our staff to begin this next coming school year. We actually have the date and everything set up just the other day. She's going to sit down with our staff and educate them on why kids are depressed, or why they maybe feel anxious, or whatever the situation, what to do if a kid mentions that he's thinking about or she's thinking about suicide. What if they have an eating disorder, or you think they might? What if you think anything might be going wrong with them, or they might need some mental health services? So that's going to be very informative. I'm really looking forward to that. This was a chart that I put together to basically help our staff with our FAPE policy. This infographic was a way to show the district how we can let people know what they are or are not entitled to. It's an area the district needs to use the highest ethical standards on, and parents need to know what their rights are when it comes to FAPE. This came from the result of a meeting that I had in November. We had a long meeting with some of our special education staff, and so this was kind of the result of that. I put that together and was able to share that with them. Also dealing with our special education staff, the IEP process. Mrs. Halsney was one of our absolute best special education teachers. I was able to work with her and talk to her about creating IEPs and the special education law and how complex it is. And so I shared this with her after we met and said, do you think this is something that would be helpful? And she thought it was great. And so it was a very worthwhile activity, very exciting. All right, so here is my activity log, which logs all of the different times and all of the standards and the dates of when I performed all the activities. So that's all set up in there. Here is my administrator evaluation. So this form is signed by my principal, Mr. John Ronca, showing that I did complete all the things I said I completed. And yeah, so here is my reflection. So my program reflection is quite lengthy. Goes through all of the required steps: the exploration, the explanation, and then conjecture, analysis, and then the synthesis stage. And then when you get to the bottom, it's every course I've taken, the instructor, the standards that apply to that course, the activities we did, and kind of what I thought or felt about the course. So you can kind of go through and you can see all of those. And then finally, the comp exam is actually what we're doing right now. I'm going to be uploading this video right to here. And then the Q&A community has been very helpful, looking at what everybody else has published and then getting comments on mine, things that can help me as I prepare to present my portfolio. So I want to thank you for watching. This has been a great experience. I didn't really know what to think about online learning when I started, but I can tell you this: it's very worthwhile. I really enjoyed it. I think I got better as an educator. I think I got better as a leader, and I'm excited to complete this program and put all this stuff to use. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and thanks for watching.